and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC as we are on game 2 of our first series of the Gauntlet between Enclave and Phelan. And Phelan, a dominant game 1, getting himself a win over Enclave there.
It's gone disastrously wrong for predictions so far. Me and Jake are both totally wrong at this point. You're living on a prayer, basically, for that 2v1.
Orcs has cursed us. That's what's happening.
I can still make it. Enclave,
possible.
the Enclave win the next 2, I get full points.
But I don't think it's happening.
See,
like, look at game 1. It just did not go anywhere near how it was meant to for Enclave.
True. And
They
I think
literally
that,
drafted around Rifty.
Yeah, and I think that some of the areas where they picked, I think they were a bit disrespectful. I think Enclave been talking a lot of smack on Twitter, and I think it's kind of shown in their draft. They pick a Kai'Sa Yuumi bot lane, nerfed Yuumi as well, and that's just sort of, we're going to farm up, we don't think you're going to do anything, and then Wisdom's like, no, I'm going to level 2 gank your mid laner, and essentially shove him out the entire game, which is what happened. Top lane, it was just consistent punishing. Whenever Rifty tried to set up pressure or split push, was an opportunity to do so.
Munch, do you know what we did wrong? We should have changed our prediction when he said Enclave. That's what we should have done. As Enclave now...
Go away from the predictive curse.
Yeah.
Well, you know, they say curse, fourth
they
place.
had Rifty, man. I was so sold. But, I mean, like, we can at least get 1 point. Like Orc said, Enclave, if they win the next 2 games, they go 2-1. They get themselves the win. And they do need to do that. Because
I'd rather get no
here,
points than Orcs gets 2 points.
I agree.
Wow.
If I'm going down, you're coming with me, buddy.
I mean, that would be a nice run for Phelan as well, because remember, they had to play the tiebreakers to get here versus Envision.
After that game, I'm excited to see what Phelan can bring to the table here. Let's catch up with our picks and bans so far. We've got Kiana and Pike banned away from Enclave, who are now going to be on our blue side. They're also going to ban away that Pantheon. Do not want to deal with that one.
The Pantheon's too much.
Yeah, the Pantheon indeed. Phelan now going to be banning away Akali and Renekton.
Yeah, so this is similar to last round, except the Vigar has been switched out for the Pantheon in the bans. Phelan, if they ban Aurelia here, same bans as last side. We are on different sides, so Enclave, it's the loser from the previous game which chooses side. So despite their first game they chose red side, they're opting for blue here. Does give them first pick, but won't have that counter pick matchup which they gave to Rifty last time, but we saw it didn't really make an impact.
Yeah, it just wasn't able to have enough impact with that counter pick, and now a little bit more respect coming in. The Xayah goes their way, deciding to put a bit more pressure down in this bottom lane.
I much prefer this as well. I think Xayah is very strong in the lanes with the CC that she can offer. She's also safer once she hits that post 6 mark as well with the Featherstorm. So I actually do like this pick for Kevo. It's also denying a Chew, a comfort pick, which is the key thing. Now for Phelan, do they want to take away that Rakan, or are they going to look for something a little bit different? As for the moment, they're just going to lock in Soft Olaf once again.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I feel like Phelan have been a team who don't put that much priority on the Rakan themselves. They're happy to play just a Xayah. I think Enclave would be happy to play just a Xayah, but I think the difference is they would take the Rakan if it's left open. I definitely do like them taking the Olaf. As to whether they'll take the Rakan, it's a bit up in the air. It wouldn't reveal too much about that comp if they did that, and then they still have that nice third pick, which they can take before the next round of bans. So really comes down to personal preference. And actually, Wisdom going to go for the Volley Bear. So this is specifically something he picked up as a Rakan counter. Reason being is that the Roar he can do, if you're in midair when that's activated, it deals increased damage, 8% of your max health, and it's really solid at cutting down Rakan's mobility. But that's a pretty big bet to make. You're basically saying, I am certain that Enclave are going to take Xayah Rakan here.
Well, I think there are 2 parts to it as well, in that it's also Phelan's logo. So locking that one in just to make sure that can't be counter-picked away from
not a bear.
It looks like Volibear to me.
Yeah,
and
the
Volibear has blue eyes.
I'll hear no more on the subject.
The response is going to be the Braum. So obviously not wanting to go for that Xayah Rakan when Rakan is threatened by the Volibear. The Braum, a lot more effective at shutting down. When the Volibear runs at you, you use that Winter's Blow or whatever it is.
Winter's Bite.
Winter's Bite, that's the one. You bite him back, and then you stun him up with Xayah, and it limits the amount he's going to get on top of you. And actually, Scoot, go for his pocket pick. Clearly feeling a bit threatened on the fact that they're 1 game down, but a big thing is that when it was played more frequently, it was seen as a counter to Olaf. Olaf obviously likes to get low HP during clears. Deadly has to execute on a Q, and on top of that, Olaf needs to slow his target. You cannot really slow a Nidalee because her jump, her pounce is on such a short cooldown. She will just jump away and dodge them.
It's been banned all season. This has been literally competitively banned for the majority of the season. It was enabled like a week or 2 weeks ago. no one's really been looking to pick it up. And finally, we get the Mordekaiser here in the UKLC. I am so excited to see this.
And look at this squad once again. Absolute bruisers here on the side of Phelan. Olaf, Volibear, and Mordekaiser. You're going to need a lot of damage from Enclave to get through
Speaking of a lot of damage, they instantly ban away the Vayne, knowing they have 3 HP stackers. They don't want the likes of a Vayne to deal with it. In the top lane specifically, the Xayah obviously locked in as AD carrier, but it kind of suggests where they're putting this Mordekaiser, because they know, and this is the power of this third pick I was talking about on red side. You pick the Mordekaiser and instantly you can ban away champions that threaten it before Enclave have a chance to pick, and it means you have the ability to go for a bit more wild picks. You know, the likes of a Mordekaiser, not something we've seen every day in the UK, even when it was enabled.
Yeah, they do decide to lock that in. Now, as the bans are going through, the Syndra as well being denied. This is actually Beely banning away. Doesn't want to give it over to Chimera. He showed that he was very comfortable on that champion. And then over they get first pick. So they deny that pick from them here. As Phelan making their last ban. They are going to ban away the Dr. Mundo here from Rifty.
What?
It's a bit of an
Is
odd
that
one
a thing?
because...
Orcs, tell me, please.
It got some slight buffs in this patch, but I kind of brushed over them because I didn't think it was enough to bring it back. It may just be the fact that into a Mordekaiser, he can stack MR, essentially scales for free. And you really, if you're cutting out massive damage sources, feeling none of these champions really can cut through a Fed Mundo.
Fair. But then none of these guys are your real damage dealers either.
It's definitely a fringe ban, but it remains to be seen. Clearly, they're concerned about the threat it could pose if you put it up against the Mordekaiser, because essentially, if he ults you, just run around with your ult up and heal up.
I mean, it's possible that it's also just like we don't necessarily need to ban anything. Let's just get something. Maybe it's something that Rifty has been showing in solo queue or something. Cassiopeia going to be locked in though here for that bottom lane.
Rifty is not the sort of person I'd assume to play Mundo.
That was more the thing for me. I was like, this guy's a carry player.
Unless it was staple, like it was like 100% big ban, I don't think Rifty would default to Mundo. But they bring in the Cassiopeia, and again, if you stack them on that Mundo, an Adaptive Helm would just absolutely shut down 2 of those damage sources. Enclave, a little bit of nerfs on this patch. The Q cooldown is lower late, but they decided to lock in that Azir for Beely. He had the Aatrox game last game, didn't have the impact he wanted. This is a pick that is a lot safer and scales far better.
I'm curious what gets picked up for Enclave here. That Aatrox is open. I would actually like to see this Jax that you've been talking about here into the likes of the Mordekaiser top lane, because you just put him in the 1v1 pit and Jax is like, all right, cool. I'm a helicopter now. Let's see what happens.
It's like he was picked in the Yorick because you put him in the cage and he's like, yeah, you're trapped in here.
He did it!
Yeah, it comes out.
It is.
I said before the show, Jax has been buffed. The 2 seconds reduced cooldown as Q makes a big difference. I expect to see Rifty to bring it out, and there it is. It is the 1v1 champion. Scales great, and going up against Phelan, he's feeling confident.
Yeah, and now Beartree is going to have his work cut out. He's going to be on that Mordekaiser. I don't know 100% how that matchup goes, but I feel like Jax, once he's got an item or two, can pretty much 1v1 anyone in the game.
It's Ziggs bot lane. So we were actually talking about this on the Passionate video as well. His rank 2 and 3 ultimate have been buffed, and also I believe that it was the damage on his W, his satchel charge.
Yeah, AP ratio and level 1 cooldown have been improved on his W, his satchel charge. Ult cooldown at ranks 2 and 3 buff. I think he was still sleeper in a good position in the bot lane because of his shove power and his ability to kill tower and get free plates. But it's interesting they bring him out here because this explains the Mundo ban. That is a very, very heavy AP composition.
I have to say,
Wow.
if you showed this composition from Phelan to me like a year ago, I would call you crazy. This it's so out there compared to classic League of Legends. But with the way that the meta is and the way that the game has changed, this actually looks like a super strong composition now.
I mean, this just looks like a last season composition in the sense that like everybody was playing Mage's bot lane then anyway. But man, what exciting!
Volibear as well.
The Volibear, I'll give you the Volibear.
Mordekaiser top before the rework.
Yeah, okay. I mean, we're stretching a little bit here, but this is what I've really liked about this season is the kind of viability of the bot lane and what can be played there. Because last season we saw that kind of phase that AD carries like to have a little bit of a whinge about on Twitter. For like the 4 months it was a thing where just mages were the only viable thing bot lane. We're now in a really awesome phase where like mages and ADs are viable bot lane. There's so much kind of versatility to this lane. It is more than just a one-trick role. It's not just about these ranged attack damage carries. You can take these mages, you can take these more exciting bot lanes, And it is always a Chu and Wisdom in the UKLC who are the two to do this. They did the Veigar with the Pyke bot lane. They've done the Sona Taric multiple times. These guys love their unique bot lanes.
Yeah, and I think there's merit to this one. It's a different style of composition from last game, but it still indicates they're wanting to look to get advantages in the early game. Ziggs is really self-sufficient. You can leave him alone. He can literally throw a couple of bombs and the wave's gone. Also, if you apply pressure bot, he's one of the fastest early tower takers in the game, especially when he can just satchel charge, because the plates get harder to take, the less remain. It's not an issue for Ziggs because he just throws a satchel and blows it up. I want to see Phelan, though. They need to be proactive against early because they have a heavy AP composition. They're up against the likes of a Jack split push and a Zir in the mid lane who still scales excellent even with the nerfs. They need to keep going with that early proactivity or they're going to struggle.
Now, I want to talk, I mentioned this going into game number 1. I want to talk once again about Rifty and Scood. These guys are ex-teammates from UOL. This time, we've got Rifty on a scaling carry. We've got Scood on a jungler that loves to gank early. I would love to see Scood camp that top lane just a little bit. Force the issue up there, get Rifty snowballing, because that just didn't happen last game, and it meant that Rifty couldn't have the impact that he needs to.
And last time that happened, that was how he dumps the Bear Tree. It wasn't him getting camped, but it was him snowballing that lane. This time, in that last game, he just felt like he wasn't really able to do too much. Sure, he was shoving into Bear Tree, but Bear Tree never really gave him the advantage to snowball the lane. We'll have to see as we take to the Summer's Rift for our second game of the Gauntlet.
Take a quick look at Bear Tree's items. Oh, he's been warning pinged. He's backing up. He's been made very aware. If you got to buy those.
Nerves are
Walk
kicking
of shame.
in.
Walk of shame. Loses a movement as well. Unlucky.
The Skeleton King goes back to base. He's going to start off with that Doran Shield in the end. And man, I'm really curious how this bot lane is going to go, because as I mentioned, if Scoot does focus on that top lane, Soft could very early on go down to this bottom lane, abuse the fact that they have this Ziggs, and force a really, really early tower. That could be disastrous for Enclave, because if Phelan can get an early tower again, if they can control the early game like they did last game, things are going to fall apart.
I mean, if there's any champions that can take a tower early, this is the trio that's strongest. Olaf gets a ton of free attack speed. Volibear does as well and will have that demolish. And then with the Ziggs, if you leave your bot lane alone, that's the risk that's going to happen. And I think the early game is completely going to be decided by these junglers, because obviously both of them can have a lot of impact, but I was thinking pre-game that maybe Scoot would go for a situation where he tries to split the map and apply pressure to get this top lane ahead. But in reverse, Soft and Bear Tree are wanting to juice for himself. So yes, we talked about how Rifty's going to want to scale up and look for fights. If Soft is permanently on his side of the map, that's just not going to be a possibility.
And wow, what a way to start things off. Soft has absolutely been the player to watch for me this series. He wasn't going into it, but so far in game 1 and now looking towards game 2, he's already being proactive. Game 1, he did so much across the map in the early game, complete dragon control. Now game 2, starting things off with an invade. I'm excited to see what else he's going to bring to the table.
Wisdom also moves over just to ward and cover his blue buff as well for him. Checks it's still there. Checks Scoot hasn't gone for it. Scoot actually going for a full bot side clear, so will be level 3 if he decides to go for that invade. And Soft already half HP. Shouldn't be too low on mana because he has got that blue buff to work with, but
yeah, I mean, I honestly feel like Soft could go for this invade. If he should be aware of the fact that Soft was in his jungle, though he did just walk back over a ward. And you can see the pry on bot lane means Raisins can move over to help him. I don't think there's going to be enough time, but one big issue is Chimera has the pry on this mid lane. But you can see Soft just heads over the red. So this won't mean a massive difference in terms of camp secured. But what it will mean is that Soft is completely focused around this top side. He has taken both the top side camps, both the top side quadrants on the map. And Rifty has to be really careful, because if the setup comes in and he goes down, it can definitely put a spanner in Enclave's plan to get him to become that scaling split push monster.
And Mordekaiser is so easy to gank for. One undertow lands, Mordekaiser is going to grab you and pull you in. Here we go though, stun coming out from Rifty to start things off. It looks like he'll walk away with this one.
just a light trade. That's all it is. Just gives him a little tickle fight.
And that's one of the big difference makers as well with the changes to this patch. The Q cooldown, the leaping strike, was 8 seconds prior to 9.16. It's now 6 at level 1. It means you have so much more safety. If you jump in like that, your E can buy enough time so that you can jump out once again. Rifty should be able to pick up that big wave coming up to him. We do see I think Soft is just going to pick up the Wolves in return. But now, Achu and Wisdom, they're taking this opportunity to move over. But Scoot, he is not being scared away.
Yeah, Raisin's coming to back him up as well here. The trap is going to get used. Wisdom and Achu closing in onto Scoot. Just to go for a suplex, but not going to find it. Scoot's going to make his way out.
And this is a massive difference maker because Soft, he's now level 4. He's clearing out the Wolves that he left up from Scoot's side of the jungle. And the bot lane of Phelan have denied the rest of him. But Rifty, you have to be careful here. Lower mana.
He has just used that leap strike. Now, like you said, it is a little bit shorter on that cooldown, but Bear Tree goes in up and on claw. Rifty jumps away. The undertow does connect, but I don't know if they're going to go quite for that tower dive here as Rifty channels up and just gets the helicopter off.
Death's Grasp doesn't quite land there. That was the classic situation. The top laner goes toward the jungler's already there. Doesn't even have to use Flash in the end, though. Gets away with it.
And that's a big difference maker, is that your leap strike is on a 6-second cooldown. So the window, a quarter of it has been cut off. And now Scoot.
Scoot able to make his way out, though. Does carry away that ward and land a spear onto Achu. Scoot playing with a lot of confidence into this bot lane.
As he should be as well. He's on his comfort pick. You know, we know him for this Nidalee, and so far doing a good job of farming up. And also, he knows that Soft has been focusing on this top lane. He's seen him, but to no avail. Not even getting a flash yet. Scoot is going to be comfortable in this situation.
And not even is it to no avail regarding a flash. Look at the CS differentials. Top lane has been kept. Oh, actually, Achu.
Achu has to flash away. Wisdom fears away. Suplexes Kevo back. But not going to be enough to get themselves a stun onto Achu. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Rifty getting jumped onto. The Death's Grasp is flashed away. The counter-strike doesn't find its mark, but Phelan unable to get that kill.
I thought Soft was going to go for that then. I could see the blood in his eyes there, but does back away at the end.
Yeah, again, gotta respect. Mini wave was coming. Leap strike probably available once again from to jump. But yeah, bit of action. Start to show up in these lanes. Oh, Raisins.
Raisins actually gets caught out here. He's able to put himself up a wall, though.
But yeah, I mean, the big difference for me is that, yes, Rifty's been suffering from this pressure on the top side, but in terms of CS, he's kept mostly even. But bot side, Achu has fallen pretty significantly behind already, despite the fact that Scoot hasn't really ganked. You've seen 3 ganks so far, top, and Rifty still pretty even in CS. We've seen no actual ganks from Scoot, and Achu is struggling just from the pressure. Oh, Shuffle comes in.
The Shurima Shuffle lands beautifully, but Scoot can't quite find his spear flash from Chimera.
That was a solid flash, because I don't think Chimera had enough mana to cast the Petrifying Gaze. So I'm fairly certain that would have been him dead.
Yeah, but Burns a summoner, so definitely something that we can look to see capitalized on, and that's a big thing. 5-minute cooldown on that flash. Beely's Shurima Shuffle and his flash as well will be available in about a minute and a bit. And I want to see them look once again to the mid lane, potentially even bring Raisins up just to secure that kill. Because right now, there is a massive target on Chimera's head.
Now, a big question for me is, are we going to see Phelan start to try and abuse map control again? That's what we saw in game number 1, and it's what got them such a tremendous lead that they snowballed into a victory. So far, we saw them lock in this Ziggs and we're like, okay, massive pressure towards bot lane, looking for early towers, looking to rotate, looking to take these objectives. So far, though, it's not been the case at all, and Ziggs has had minuscule impact.
And I think this is testament to what Rifty's done. Phelan have devoted their entire attention to punishing him in the top side. Look at the score. He's up in farm, and he's 0-0-0. It has not been successful, and in return, it meant that Achu had to give up the push in the bot lane and also has fallen behind in CS. So they were trying to make that happen. They were looking for the map control, but I feel like they should have focused on the bot lane where they have that shove advantage if Soft was there. And because instead they looked towards Rifty and they weren't able to shut him down, they have found nowhere near the same momentum as we saw in game 1.
Yeah, now things are going to get really hard for Bear Tree because Soft has looked towards this bottom lane. He's going to be able to get that first dragon of the game. It's only going to be a cloud this time, not going to be rewarded for the dragon pressure like they were in game 1.
But next one will be an Inferno, so a big objective to play for. Wisdom is going to run away right now, and you can see this is the sort of pressure. It's not a gank, but Scoot is forcing Phelan's bot lane to back away. He's now looking to contest his blue, but you got to be a bit careful here.
Yeah, Soft takes that spear to make sure it doesn't connect onto the blue. Chimera will be able to pick that objective up. So both of the mid laners running around with their blue buffs, and like you were saying earlier, Beely's flash and his Shurima Shuffle are now available to him. Well, Chimera's still half the cooldown on that flash, so I'd like to see Scoot make his face known in this mid lane once again and see if he can get something there.
And worth mentioning so far this game, I don't think I've seen Rifty get hit by a single Death's Grasp. Every time that ability has been used by Beartree, Rifty deftly sidestepping it and just making sure that Beartree can't win out these trades.
Give me the counter strike, although Beartree actually is starting to come out on top here. Looking to see if he can get him.
Goodness.
Rifty jumps out there inside the pit and first blood to Beartree.
And that's one of the big things. You take him the Death Realm, those minions he likes to jump to are not there. He goes for the ward, but Beartree flashes to follow. And finally, Rifty is feeling the pain from those early ganks. His flash was down because of them, and as a result, he goes down to the Mordekaiser. This mid-game spike is huge. The Death Knight.
Soft going for a light trade here. Pops himself the Ragnarok, and that's going to be all she wrote on that as Beartree misses out on the Death's Grasp. Now, one key thing to note about that first blood is for the spectators, it actually is quite hard to see when they go into the Death Realm. You don't get the cool cage animation you get like you do previously. So Death Realm was used. We'll have to make sure we're a little bit clearer on when that happens, because that's the first time I've seen it in Spectator, and it caught me off guard a little bit.
Yeah, just if you look at Beartree right on the top right of your screen, you can see the ult cooldown. Keep your eyes peeled on that during those team fights, and you'll be able to see. You generally be able to tell because he gets a massive shield as well.
Yeah, the other animation is that he puts down his mace and points in the direction of his target. Does make a little bit of a vocal cue, but other than that, not really possible to tell too easily. Just gotta wait and see.
Generally speaking, it's usually towards the start of the fight as well. When he just starts recklessly running at someone and nobody seems to interact, typically he's at his death.
When you see someone just running away from the Mordekaiser, that's probably it.
It is a terrifying experience.
Yeah.
Being pulled into the Death Realm.
Do you know what's really fun though? Is when you're really fed and he pulls you into the Death Realm.
Flashes it in, the miasma's down. He actually throws out of the Shroom and shuffle onto Wisdom, but he's low HP. A Chew takes him out. Nice and easy. Now Rifty, 1 versus 2. He has got the help of Scoot though for the moment. The counter-strike being channeled up. Scoot trying to get in. A 2-man stun does connect, but Phelan unable to get that kill onto Rifty.
Yeah, they will just back away, but Phelan starting to exert that pressure we saw. They get that solo kill in the top lane. We see a great punish from Wisdom in the mid onto Beely. They're starting to make things happen in the mid game. Enclave, they still have a lot of scaling, but there's now 3 people hitting that tower in the mid.
And now we see Achu come into his own. This is what they picked him for, pushing into towers. 2 plates going to go down. They're not going to be able to get it low enough to finish a tower off just yet, but they're going to start to finally be able to get some pressure.
Good rotation there by Phelan. We'll have to see if they can get back to that bot lane in time to defend us. Also, Kevo has had some free time on those plates, and he's managed to take it down to 2 plates himself. There is a teleport available to choose. He picks up the Luden's Echo. Should be able to get back there in time to defend, but they haven't really been able to be effective in bot lane like they would maybe have liked to have been.
Yeah, but they have started to make some effect on the map, and someone I gotta praise is Beartree. We saw him get stomped by Rifty in their matchup in week 7, and he has bounced back so thoroughly. I thought he'd be looking to play safer picks and respect Rifty, but he's just going head-to-head with him.
Herald now going to come down in this bot side, and Kevo and Achu have been sparring. Kevo incredibly low HP and 0 mana to talk about. Soft going to be looking for the eye of the Herald here. Try and deny the charge onto the tower, but he wants a fight.
Wisdom goes in, gets himself the taunt off. That's going to be the Glacial Fissure. Ragnarok already been used. Double teleporter coming in, and Enclave are hungry for a kill. Wisdom judges away on the spear, but he is being run down by all of Enclave here. Look at him dodge. Look at him dive. He's still alive. Wisdom's out.
Wisdom escapes somehow with his life there. No kills, but it's a tower for Enclave here. The Rift Herald pays off, and Beartree's teleport actually getting cancelled. Oh, Rifty's, sorry, teleport getting cancelled there.
Yeah, Beartree went under the tower to cancel that with the Death's Grasp, so just absolutely shut down the chance of Rifty turning up. Probably would have meant Wisdom's death, but in the end, Enclave still managed to get that tower. They still get that punish with the Rift Herald, and they're marginally ahead in gold right now, although it's pretty close.
I actually want to note that Phelan started that, and I legitimately think they could have just taken the eye out, taking the Herald out without losing their turret, but instead they go for the fight. They actually lose that fight, and then they lose first turret blood. And Enclave have now got themselves priority on that side of the map, but Phelan now looking to get themselves onto this Baron, this Infernal Drake as a tube on that flank for the moment. They're going to pick up that Infernal nice and easy. The bomb's not going to find anybody.
Yeah, and it just shows Phelan's confidence in these fights. No mana on a Chew almost, and they still go for a great pull-in.
Two-man Death's Grasp right there. I was expecting more to come off of that one. I thought that that was going to be the start of something beautiful, but Phelan back away.
Yep, they got the prize. They got the Infernal. I was concerned that Chew was low in HP and mana. I thought maybe this wasn't enough, but Chimera, a beautiful miasma, shut down any access to the pit. They get the Infernal. They fished for a fight afterwards, but they're like, you know, we already got what we came for. Already picked up 2 dragons, and yes, we talked about the scaling from Enclave, but so far the game is been pretty heavily in the favor of Phelan. They've gotten a couple of kills, just a couple of dragons, and now Rifty, you might be looking at a couple of deaths if Battery gets onto you again.
It has to be said, Rifty is not having a fun game so far on this Jax. He's doing a good job, though, of staying even in CS. But Beartree knows that he's ahead on this Mordekaiser and is more than happy to make that known.
Meanwhile, Chimera now dealing with the bot lane from Enclave, who've been able to push up after that first turret blood. But Phelan, they've sent their bot lane into this top side. They want to try and get this objective, but it's an Azir. He's got the Sand Soldiers. He's pretty good at taking out these minions and clearing these waves.
And Rifty, let's bear in mind, is playing this Jax, right? He's notorious as being that super late game hyper carry that just wants a million items. Oh dear.
They're in
He's
the realm.
in the death realm. There is no turret. That's going to be a kill.
It was just disrespect from Rifty. I'm not sure what he was doing. He may be in the death realm, but the turret is still there to provide damage. Beartree just sits there and waits until he has the cooldowns, and Rifty stands there under the tower. You should have known Beartree had flash. You had your own flash. Why are you just waiting to die? It feels like Rifty is not playing to the level we expected from him coming into this series, and Beartree has just been on form.
Beartree doing an amazing job. Oh, what is the damage?
That's not even rank 2. The rank 2 damage is up from before.
You just like half health Kevo in a single blast right there. Kevo is not having fun anymore.
No.
Well, he just walked onto the minefield, so less than optimal.
Absolutely not. And that's the thing, he's got hit by the center of that ult. It does so much damage. The scaling is huge, but now they're looking to collapse on Beartree. No ult, remember, so it would be a 2v1.
Yeah, can't banish anyone to the Shadow Realm this time. Sends him back to the Death's Grasp. He's got teleport. He's got the backup from Soft and from Kevo. Chimera flashes forward. They do get some damage on as a great knockup lands by Raisins, but Scoot, he is down. Wisdom barreling forward, looking for Raisins, gets himself the fear off. That's going to be Rifty coming in with a 3-man counter-strike. He's in, he's out, Raisins is down, and Phelan a 5-0.
Phelan with the great collapse down. Rifty and Scoot thought they could find a 1v2, but they didn't know what they were taking with that fight. They end up getting punished by all of Phelan. They're going to lose another tower in the bot lane, and this is just looking dominant once again for Phelan. I had hope that Enclave could bounce back. The draft gave me some optimism, but it looks like Phelan are just on form today.
The Bruiser boys coming up big here. Getting himself a 3,000 gold lead as a teleport actually coming into top lane. Beely might just be on the tail end of Beartree. He's closing in on his ulti. The shuffle comes down to send him packing, but that Q just flattened Beely.
Beely just styles on him though. He's like, I'm not taking this fight. You kidding me? I'm out of here. Pushes him aside with the Empress Divine and then slides down the lane. Beautiful stuff coming up from him. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it was just nice to look at very least. But once again, Phelan now 5 kills up, 3,000 gold up, 2 towers ahead of their opponents, and they've got 2 dragons to boot as well. This is looking phenomenal for Phelan. So much better than group stage.
Looks like playing through relegations and getting that win over Envision. Well, not relegations. Almost going into relegations, beating out Envision and denying yourself that spot just gave this team a spark of life that they've been lacking for the majority of the season. Yeah, showing up well here versus Enclave.
A ton of people were saying they not only predicted Enclave to win this match, but the next one as well. They felt like the roster with Rifty backing them up was revitalized, looked so dominant, but Phelan are the ones looking on form right now. Beartree, then she's going to look once again for Beely. That streamer shuffle coming up very soon though. But the death zone for Beartree now available.
Where you gonna go this time, buddy? Beartree's here. He's not afraid of your soldiers. You need to be afraid of him, though. In he goes. Beely dodging like crazy, but there's just nowhere to go. Beartree batters him down.
That's unlucky, dude. That's really unlucky. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Beartree doesn't go for the same tricks this time, but now Enclave actually looking to see if they can contest and defend their red buff.
They secured a red buff, you know, it's a positive, but speaking of positives for Phelan, Mountain Dragon. Look at the composition of Phelan. You have, normally when you take a mage to the bot lane, people have concerns about Baron DPS. That is not ever going to be true with the Cassiopeia, especially once you pick up the Mountain. The first Mountain, more impactful than the second and third combined. 16% extra true damage to objectives.
But a second one would be nice, and that is what will be the next Drake.
True, but remember, 16% for the first, 7 from the second, 7 again from the third. That first one is enough to potentially threaten a Baron as soon as it spawns. If you can sneak it without Enclave being aware, Chimera can essentially solo it with the amount of damage he puts out. And that is where things start to get concerning, because Enclave, they're looking for the scaling potential to get back in the game. It may not happen if they end up giving up a Baron.
Oh, Kevo.
Kevo just hates his life right now. Anytime he's in lane against a Chu, he's just getting
Glacial
bodied
Fisher
here.
actually forces Chu to flash away. Not going to be any more from that play, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good trade. You punish the Ziggs. Does burn that summoner spell, but other than that, not enough too much. But speaking of punishing, look at this CS differential in mid lane. I mean, this is Cassiopeia, who's a scaling mage, but should have a rough time against the Azir in the early levels. We've been praising Beely all split for his performances, his really high CS per minute that he's been able to maintain, comparable to the top players from the LEC sister teams. But Chimera just styling on him, and right now, 208 CS at 20 minutes. And this is on a champion who is only going to get stronger.
0-2 Rifty, 0-2 Beely. These are the two players that were my thinking behind why I would vote for a 2-0 in favor of Enclave in this game. And they have had a really rough series so far. And we did talk about this at the beginning of the stream, but best of threes, best of fives are such a different beast from best of ones. It's an entirely different mindset going into them. And you have to kind of really look at how these teams have handled themselves here. Phelan just looking dramatically better in a best of series.
And remember, Enclave beat Phelan in week 7. It wasn't a long time ago. We're not talking week 1, week 2, week 7. Last week, Enclave beat Phelan in a best of 1. And it looked pretty decisive. The top lane matchup was one of the biggest things. Rifty stomping Beartree. And Phelan have clearly prepared. They've put the time in, and it shows an organization who want to prove themselves, because they're new to the league last split, but they are not wanting to leave it. And they are showing they want to do more than that and prove themselves in the Gauntlet.
Absolutely. Phelan narrowly avoiding a fight, but looking to re-engage. Potentially Chimera coming from the other side.
Tries to get himself in, but not going to be enough.
Oh,
As
no.
Beartree comes in for the flank. He has the Death Roam. Kevo's been pulled in. That's going to be a stun. He does have the Blade Cooler. He does have that Feather Storm. Damage is coming down from the tower, but Beartree untouched by the rest of the members as he fades out from that Death Realm, and nobody's going to die.
Scary situation having that Mordekaiser on top of you. A lot of low health bars from Enclave mean that Phelan have the pressure advantage.
Oh, God.
The damage is just absurd. Rifty is going to have to recall off the back of that one. That surely means that Phelan should be able to pressure this one. If not, though, half the team is already on Baron.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying with that one mountain. Soft and Chimera can two-man that Baron. They have the DPS, they have the sustain. They can't get past Beartree, and the Baron's just going to go down.
Beartree has to flash over the wall. The teleports are on. Enclave grouping up as 5. Baron has already gone down here, but they're on for the fight. That's Beely jumping in. Non-stoppable, though, as a shutdown is picked up by Rifty. Beely, low HP, standing over the fight field.
What are you
Chimera
doing?
gets him with the poison, the bomb. Only enough to get a bit of damage onto Raisins. And it's a 1-for-1. Phelan can walk away happy. They have Baron.
Why did he walk through the minefield? It's just such
stand
a
still,
rookie
dude.
mistake. They will get that tower in the mid lane, but it feels like Enclave are just completely tilted by this game. I think we need a rain check on their scaling, because they're not going to hit it.
And it's important to mention that Phelan, they have been on top of everything right now this game. They've had a strategy coming in, and they've absolutely been forcing that hand. But also, it doesn't feel like this is the normal Enclave. This does not feel like the same team that beat Phelan during week 7. This does not feel like they have a game plan. It feels completely disoriented. And I have to wonder what's going on in the comms for Enclave right now. What has changed from week 7 that it's all going so drastically wrong?
And I think it's showing the pressure, because up until this point, even if you got down to, even if you struggled in that match in week 7, you would still be able to go to the tiebreaker. There's still a second chance, but this is their last chance this game in the Gauntlet. If they lose this, they are just out. Their season is over for them. They have no chance to go to Twickenham. And they are now 6,000 gold down in potentially their last game of the season, and they are looking lost.
Beartree had a mountain to climb coming into this series. He did not do well against Rifty during week 7, and we were saying that he was going to have a rough time here, but so far it's looking great.
Kevo uses that Feather Storm early. The Ragnarok's not going to be enough to keep him alive, as actually we do see Soft make his way out, and Phelan just grouping up onto this Tower Chimera now. Has to be a little bit careful as he's getting rotated onto, but he steps away. Remember, Baron still onto the Phelan members. Soft, low HP, but he's regenning for the moment. This turret will fall down. That's the power of the satchel charge. Phelan just going to back away for the moment.
Yeah, I think health bar is getting a bit low, especially Soft going to be a bit concerned. I think he's looking through the jungle right now to heal up. And Phelan happy just to move through and secure some extra camps, some extra gold. Another mountain is available. Not the most impactful right now, but the amount of damage they're doing to turrets already, it would just snowball that even more. I want to talk a bit about what this means for the organization, because Enclave, they've been on a downward trend since 4G Champions, where they got their first place in the regular split. They did so well in that tournament, and they ended up going to EU Masters. Next split, they missed out on playoffs, a big hit to them, but now, to go out in the first round of the Gauntlet would be massive for a team, for an org who have been in the UK for such a long time. But Phelan, they've recently joined it. They're looking to follow that initial trajectory that Enclave had, constantly climbing split on split. And yes, last split Phelan looked a bit rough, but they kept 2 of their members. And although they haven't had a great regular season, this Phelan, the one who beat Envision in that tiebreaker, the one who is looking so dominant in this series, that is a Phelan that all of Ireland can be proud of.
Yeah, I was about to say, they are the only Irish representatives in the UKLC, so being able to hold your space and also getting such a good team versus such a good game series versus a veteran team like Enclave. It's a great way to start the Gauntlet, but it is a tough hill to climb, even if they can close this game out. Next up will be versus Diabolus, and if they can beat them out, it's then M&M.
Yeah, and I mean, we're getting...
Demise.
Still getting a bit ahead of ourselves because, yes, the gold lead is 6,000, but we've seen bigger throws than this in the UKLC, this split alone.
And by better teams.
I gotta agree with you there. Phelan, they're in the lead. The game's in their control, but there's a lot of scaling on the side of Enclave. A mistake, a misplay. There's no flash in Chimera, no flash in Beartree, an overstep from them could make this entire game fall apart.
And once again, we have to talk about the top lane there. You've got a Jax that you're up against. It doesn't matter how the game has gone up to this point. Once you get to 30, 35 minutes, Jax is going to be a monster, and Rifty is not a player you can ever underestimate. Here we go, though.
Oh, Beely tried for the play.
A nice save with the tower will just stop them from re-engaging. He gets the flash from a Chew, and it does mean they're a bit on the back foot, but no Baron available for Phelan means that push should be limited. Got to watch out for Beartree in the bot lane, though.
I also want to have a little talk about what is coming up next as well in the Drake department. A third mountain. A team that have built a composition about sieging and just smashing open towers as fast as possible. 3 mountains. This is going to be super hard to deal with. And then also stacked up on top of the fact it's a Cassiopeia on the Baron. It makes it even harder with Beartree. Does banish Rifty away for the moment. Actually doesn't, sorry.
I think he banishes him away from that bot lane with that trade. Rifty has to go back to base, and without the Baron, Enclave able to hold on pretty well. They've still got all their inhibitors up. Towers in the top mid lane have gone down, though, and Phelan essentially now, they're forcing them to stay trapped in their base. And if you look at the top side of the map, there's so little vision available for Enclave. They're going to look to move up now. Scoot is playing a dangerous game here, but there's so much ground to make to get into that Baron pit. And you know, as soon as Phelan recall, they're going to come back and look to sweep all that vision. So you need some sneaky wards, because if you give another Baron over to Phelan, that could well be the entire game going out of control and being finished by Phelan, and that would be the series.
Look at that scoreboard on the bottom of your screen. Look at the control wards.
And the stopwatches too.
Phelan, there's 4 stopwatches. Phelan know what they have to do here to win this game, and they are setting up for that as they're moving out onto the map. They're going to clear out this vision.
Importantly, though, all Enclave have to do is deny and engage here. Rifty is pushing in the bottom lane right now. He's going to have teleport in a minute. Beartree is not there to contest him.
One of the big issues, if you can't get in that Baron pit, you have to walk through choke points. There's a miasma from Chimera. There's a minefield from a Chew. This is a difficult Baron to approach, and we're going to see that come through now.
There's a Beely on the flank as well. You do need to keep your eyes on that Scoot. Already lost 1/3 of his HP.
Going down so fast.
That Baron is just melting to the Snake Lady. Can see in the meanwhile though, Rifty, he's just going full Kerberos and he's just going to ignore his team and split push.
And I mean, that's the difficulty. It's so hard to approach. The miasma shuts down all the mobility on the side of Enclave. The minefield means you're essentially going to lose all of your HP just trying to walk through it. There's no easy option to approach. And instead, Enclave opt to try and go for the Miracle base defense. It's not a great option, but in this game, you're limited between awful choices and bad ones.
And one of the most important things is so far, Phelan haven't been able to take an inhibitor. That's not been an issue that Enclave have had to deal with, but now will be the time.
So it looked like Enclave, we're potentially looking to punish a Chu there. Hiding just out of vision. Not sure they're able to get too much. So we talked about last game, it's prevalent here again. Massive level differentials between the side of Phelan and Enclave. Definitely going to make this an uphill battle. Oh!
A lot of damage, and that's surely going to be an inhibitor guaranteed off the back of that one. Chimera pushing in the mid lane in the meantime, and then you've got Beartreen down on the bottom side of the map. Phelan, piece by piece, dismantling Enclave before our eyes.
There's not a lot they can do here except engage onto soft. That's going to be the knockup. Already the Ragnarok's used as stopwatches are being up as they are trying to get some damage down, but Enclave stepping away. Kevo being minced down by Beartree. Gets a massive Q off onto everybody. The ulti comes back by Beely, but it's going to be a triple kill. Given over to Beartree. Welcome back to the UKLC as Rifty is taken down by Beartree. Oh my lord, they have put themselves a ticket to Diabolus.
What a series we have just witnessed. Phelan taking this one 2-0 in the end. Another kill comes through for a Chu as the Nexus goes down. Utter domination from Phelan. We were talking about the top laners. We were talking about the junglers. But it was all about Soft and Beartree destroying their opponents.
Yeah, but I got to give credit. The whole team seemed so much more cohesive. They all played their role. They all put the pressure down. And I felt like from minute one, they were looking at how they can win this game. I got to say, game one, I was definitely of this opinion. Game two, it was less so about the composition, but just Enclave played like they wanted to wait for 40 minutes. And Phelan said, we are not giving you a chance to reach that. They looked to scale up, but they didn't have the opportunity. They were just punished from minute one, minute two. Those early roams from Wisdom are just testament to how much pressure they were applying.
I'm really glad you said early there, because early is the key word if I'm Diabolus. I'm now looking at, we've got to take on Phelan. This is a very different Phelan. The dog is back and it is biting hard. They are playing for this early game pack tactic fight style where they just rotate everybody into a lane, look for the kills, and look to snowball their advantages from there. Okay, Beartree versus Rifty was kind of just a 1v1, which Beartree was just smashing him around with.
Which is insane.
It is insane, it is insane. But if you're Diabolus, you now need to look at, okay, we need to play early game. We can't play scaling. Phelan are a team who do not let you play scaling. You have to go toe-to-toe them. You have to play high tempo, high aggression. Otherwise, you will just crumble and you won't hit your win conditions.
And I want to talk about that 1v1 in the top lane as well. We had Beartree going up against Rifty. In game one, Rifty has the better matchup once you get a few abilities, once you get a few items. Beartree just doesn't fight him. As soon as Beartree has a better 1v1, as soon as he's in a matchup where he can take Rifty on, absolutely abuses that advantage and just took Rifty for a walk.
And if we saw this matchup go this way on week 7, I wouldn't be as surprised. But it's a fact that on week 7, we saw the rookie top laner in Beartree go up against the veteran Rifty, and Rifty introduced him to the league. He just crushed him, he murdered him. And it's a fact that in 1 week, it has gone so drastically different. And I just got to give credit to Beartree, who's not only making his rookie debut split, but has also proven himself against one of the veterans of the league and dominating back-to-back in those games.
Cool fact. If I remember right, Beartree was actually playing with a phone tether internet in that game. So maybe having a bit lower ping might help versus Rifty. And with that, he was able to get himself a 2-0 versus Enclave. They have been knocked out the Gauntlet and Phelan advanced to the next boss. It's Diabolus. That'll be coming up after the break. So we'll see you in a second.